The Checkpoints is presented by pharmaceutical company GM Pharma.
Last week, Sturgeon Capital organized its Georgia Startup Investment Summit, leaving attendees with a mostly optimistic outlook about the state of innovation in Georgia. This event brought more than 100 visitors, venture capital firms, and startups to Tbilisi for 2 days of panels, discussions, and meetings. On the first day of the conference, Bitskinashvili, newly appointed Consul General in San Francisco, gave the opening remarks to welcome the guests, while Sturgeon Capital presented its investment strategy, track record, and future plans for attendees. Sturgeon Capital is well known for its investments in Georgia. Back in the early 2000s, the UK investment firm provided crucial investment for the leading Georgian financial institutions, the Bank of Georgia and TBC.
Sturgeon Capital, we're an investment firm. We've managed around 300 million that have been investing in Central Asia and the Caucasus for nearly over a decade. We actually first invested in Georgia back in 2005 once we saw the proliferation of the financial services market here, and since then have transitioned to focusing more on technology. The reason why we have the event here is we believe Georgia is a talent hub, both for the country itself but for the broader region. We want to bring the spotlight to the country and bring the broader region and all our investors from the world to this country to see what the talent is here, the depth of the ecosystem here, and hopefully to be a catalyst and to really see Georgia becoming one of the leading technology ecosystems in the world.
Sturgeon have an extremely strong record as a successful venture capital company investing all around the world. They've already got a track record of investing in Georgia, and I think today's event is part of that far broader package of UK-Georgian collaboration in the fintech sector. The British Embassy here in Georgia has supported fintech weeks for the last couple of years. The fintech sector is growing rapidly in Georgia. We have, as a result of the UK's own direct involvement, we've supported around 10 companies to build joint ventures between UK and Georgia. So this is a booming sector with huge amounts of potential. And I think today's event is a really good investment and will give a good push to all of that development.
Sturgeon is a very, very serious UK investment company. They have hundreds of millions in private equity investments, and this is their second venture fund. So the reason I wanted to engage with Sturgeon is that they are very sophisticated investors. They're very, very wise about understanding the trends. They're very good at investing in the right management teams, and they're the kind of quality VC that I've wanted to involve in Georgia. There are a lot of other folks around, maybe it's their first time fund, they're very enthusiastic, but they've never actually been through this. Sturgeon has actually been involved in Georgia for almost 20 years on public markets as well as the private equity side. So they're very, very knowledgeable, and I think drawing on this knowledge is very important.
Sturgeon Capital Georgia Startup Investment Summit was organized in partnership with Startup Connect and sponsored by the National Bank of Georgia, Georgia's Innovation and Technology Agency, Silk Bank, and TBC. The event was supported by the USAID Financial Innovation Program.
Startup Connect have involved because they're gathering here their LPs from different countries, but we also want to connect them with the Georgian startup ecosystem. So there are 15 venture capitalists and a bunch of other investors who are in town. We feel it's important for the business community to learn from them because venture capital is a very specific, kind of esoteric type of investment. And so having this international talent in Georgia is incredibly important.
While Sturgeon Capital's first Georgian investment came back in the early 2000s, there are 3 Georgian startups in Sturgeon's current portfolio: Payze, Colin, and Clayton. Some of the founders pitched their startups before the investors as a part of the conference.
Many venture funds market themselves as emerging market funds. But the reality is different. We have spoken to hundreds of funds. We have more than 20 investors, but out of probably majority of them, Sturgeon has been the one that really walks the walk and talks the talk and walks the walk. They have been very active investors in Central Asia and Caucasus. We are very proud that Sturgeon has been. We have been the first Georgian portfolio company for Sturgeon. Since then, Sturgeon has added 2 more amazing Georgian startups in the name of Clayton and Colin. And this showcase has been an example of how active Sturgeon is and the work that Sturgeon is doing in these regions.
Today's event, which was organized by Sturgeon Capital, holds crucial importance for Georgian startups, and not only, actually for Georgian startup ecosystem as well. As we all know, Sturgeon Capital is a huge VC from UK, and they are providing alternative finances, funding basically to startups, which is of course crucial to every Georgian startup that is out there. What's more, they are giving us some very important feedback regarding the products that we are making, which is going to help us to scale globally.
Sturgeon Capital is a leading private equity and venture capital firm focused on emerging and frontier markets, particularly in the Caucasus, Central and South Asia, and the Middle East. They invest in companies that are solving key problems in these regions, such as financial inclusion, job creation, and digitalization.
The Checkpoints is presented by pharmaceutical company GM Pharma.